Hey, we're back again. We've got a very different style of cardboard conversations this evening. As always, we are Cardboard Odysseys, but for one of the very first times, we get to do a podcast all together in the same room.
We're touching.
That's so weird. We're finger docking.
Yeah.
But I guess we could call this the inaugural BobCon.
Yeah, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we should do this for every Halloween, but not do Halloween.
You guys have gotten your wish that you wanted a BobCon. Well, here it is. Unfortunately, it's very exclusive to just the Cardboard Odyssey crew.
True.
So it's been a pleasure having Pat here. As we're recording this, we're 3 days deep into his vacation. He will unfortunately be departing us tomorrow.
I guess the dude.
He really does not like Ohio.
It's
pretty bad.
honestly been a huge thumb down. You know, I've been sick in multiple ways here, not just by my stomach, but my attitude as well.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's just been yelling at me from cars. It's just the smell. I mean, I couldn't even stay over at match. There was just huge spire of industry, clouds of smog and smoke coming through.
Sorcery was everywhere.
It's not a place you want to go.
Yeah. They sell sorcery at every gas station now.
Just not a place you want to move to.
Yeah, definitely stay away.
But we did get to have a unique experience over at Matt's house with.
It was kind of impromptu. We kind of just winged it.
It kind of grew out of things, and we learned a lot about it. And I guess we'll just dig into it. It was a Commander Chaos draft.
So I got sparked the idea from Talarian Community College, right? Yeah,
Yep.
the YouTube channel. They did what they call a boxing league. Now I've done a boxing league where you take a box of cards and then typically it's Commander Master or Commander Legends because it has like the most appropriate way to build a deck. But you can do it with any of them. And they opened up an entire box of cards, made a commander deck, and then played. We did it a bit differently. We went with a
Mystery
bunch of
Booster
different
2.
random packs that we had lying around, mainly to use the Mystery Booster 2, and we didn't just do a sealed, we drafted everything.
Oh yeah, it was pretty wild.
What was your guys' experience? Did you have fun drafting that many packs, or was that too many?
No, that was way too
Yeah,
much.
everybody's in agreement that while it was fun,
It was too much.
Was it 9 packs per person?
yeah, it was something like.
I think we missed an important part. There were 6 players drafting.
Oh, yeah, 6
So,
players.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards to get through.
My-
And
I
a
think it was
very
unanimous
one of
that-
the things that was really interesting to me, coming in from out of town, I was playing with a new pod, right? So I'd never met any of Matt's
3 of my
in
friends that I
person.
normally play Commanders with on Thursdays.
And that's the thing is they're really nice fellas. Honestly, I had a great time with everybody. Everyone's personality was different, but all very quite
yeah, you guys know Nate and Dave from Sundays on the channel. If you watch anything that we do on Sundays, you'll see Nate and Dave. But Jimmy was the only one that he wouldn't have actually ever seen.
Yeah. And since they're all playing on the same level you are for Commander and
That's very
Magic
high
in
power.
general, yeah, I felt out of my league as far as some of the play experience itself, but it was phenomenal because really high quality drafters, and they were super accepting of, because I made it known my skill level coming in, how rare I had drafted and how often nowadays I play Magic. It was great to have such a welcome
Knowledgeable.
pod. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say that's true. Now, it's, I guess the closest thing I have to a pod, the problem is they're like Matt, and they're all very...
He doesn't want to play competitively, and that's pretty much all we do.
I mean...
We try to build the best decks we can build, and
that's good. It's just I go over there from time to time. Like, I'll bring over a box to draft.
Yeah, we do that.
We did Unfinity draft there. We did a Commander Legends draft.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not my first rodeo with these folks. But I realize that they're not necessarily in the same vein. But I think it added a very fun element, at least for me, playing with experienced people in a chaos. However, I agree with, I think, just speaking for the Jimmy, Dave, and Nate, they also agreed. Way too long. It was what, 2+ hours of drafting and building? It was like
3 hours.
Golly.
3 hours almost to the minute for us to draft and build our deck.
Yeah, we didn't get playing until 3 hours later.
And that makes it a bit taxing. And realistically, just in my opinion, I'm never going to draft another 100-card draft commander deck.
Oh.
That is just brutal.
Oh, yeah.
I
and for
remember
clarity,
exactly what David said. He got home. He said, "That was fun, never again."
And it was.
I said, "I agree."
I think it should be refined. It's not that I would never do it again. I would tune it down
I would never do
to
that.
something more acceptable, palatable. If you could finish drafting and building within an hour,
That's
it
fine.
wouldn't be brutal. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You would do it
Yeah.
again, but not the same way we did it. And it could be a chaos, but just not 9 packs and not 100-card deck.
Chaos Sealed would have been better because then there's no drafting
I
and
think
you just
that
kind
that
of build the
would've-
deck immediately.
But then it
That
also
might have been-
kind of limits your availability to colors. But that's fine. I'm just
Sure.
saying you could craft it is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I wouldn't say never again. I
That
just wouldn't do
never
that
again.
version
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
that was a bit much. And I think for clarity's sake, it was Mystery Booster 2, Bloomborough, Time Spiral Remastered, Commander Masters, Commander Legends, March of the Machines, Lost Caverns of Ixalan,
Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds of
Eldraine.
Eldraine.
But the
And-
but
and
those were
was there
only
Brothers
a
War
collector
in there?
packs.
You keep
Sorry.
thinking
You
that.
keep
You
thinking
keep
that.
saying that. No, it's not a building.
It's not a building.
Also, we forgot to mention something. This is pre-recorded, and there will be no after. Yeah, a little bit into what I remembered it. So we got
We
to do
did
it.
not
Tricked you.
record the
Yeah.
gameplay.
What up,
Yeah.
Cosmic? Great to see you, bud.
Yeah, this is pre-recorded. Yeah, Cosmic, thanks for showing up.
Wow, you guys
pleasure as
totally
always.
gypped Solar God. You know he's going to be here.
Yeah.
Cosmic's always here.
Time
Solar God
capsule,
shows up
shout
at
out
the end.
Holmes.
Okay, but he still shows up.
I was gonna thank Solar God. Solar God, we played Sorcery.
Usually Twiddler stops
Yeah.
in. But so thank
we'll
you
get
to
to that
everybody
later.
watching this, and sorry we can't do this live and interact with you.
Yeah, there's
But
some
schedules just
schedule-
conflicted with us. They're busy.
scheduling and also birthdays and all kinds of stuff.
everything. So sorry we couldn't come to you live. We
There
wanted
will-
to do some.
There will be no after stream hangout this
No.
week, but next week we'll be
We're
there.
back to normal
Back to
schedules
normal.
come next Saturday, so thank you.
All right. So
All
I mean, I think we covered the chaos draft well enough. Lessons learned. It was fun, but a
I
little
enjoyed
brutal.
it. I enjoyed
I-
it. It was
I had
a
a
good
thumbs up.
time. And
I was exhausted, and I've been exhausted. I flopped my sleeping schedule
Yeah.
around. I've been super snappy and aggressive, so apologies for that.
No, you're good.
I actually had the first good night's sleep last night. I only woke up one time. Pretty good.
But this is not the only thing that we got to experience this weekend.
Yeah, we got to a bunch of different LGSs.
Yes.
Well, I should say what, 3?
yes,
Sweets
three
and
different
Geeks,
stores.
Gamers Haven, and what's the third one?
Or
Or was it only 2?
Wasn't there?
Just two.
Just 2 so far.
We were thinking about going
Maybe
to,
go to
Ground
Kid-
Zero.
Kid
we,
Force?
we wanted it. Unfortunately, the best laid plans fly right out the window as soon as
Yeah.
you get somewhere. So there were some more LGSs. So there's more for BobCon too.
Exactly,
Right? Next
yeah.
time.
I mean, we could hit up Kid Force on the way back.
What?
Why not?
That's nowhere near where we're going.
Well, it's in Berea.
That would be like an extra 25 minutes. Anyways, we'll talk about that later.
It was
But
awesome. Yeah.
your experience with the LGS. So I took him to one of my favorites, and BBD, if you're watching, you've actually been to 2 of the places. Like we started off at a nice little crepes place that took 99 minutes to come out with our food,
That was,
yeah.
but it was good food.
it was fun.
And then I took him to Sweets and Geeks. I think it was actually your first trip there too.
Yeah, I thought I'd been there, but
What
I've
a
never been
unique
there.
store. So I'm not even going to talk about it. I'll let these two describe it since they had their first experience there. I like the place.
Oh yeah. So it's a very large footage store,
Yeah,
multi-level. I did feel as though one of the things that they didn't fill every square inch of their store. There were a lot of times where you'd be walking for 10, 15 feet, and it would just be part of a hallway, and there would just be some random boxes of plushies.
And Funko Pops.
Yeah,
Funko
it-
Pops
Holy
everywhere.
Funko Pops.
So that's one thing that they did not advertise enough of. It should have been Sweets, Geeks, and mainly Funko Pops.
But it's a very large store.
Thousands of Funko Pops. I'm not even exaggerating.
Thousands. Probably tens of thousands.
It was absolutely
Just
But
literally
I mean,
like walls.
It has a very large footprint for D&D.
comparatively the whole
Sure.
thing. It was
They had a Dritz.
I
An inappropriate drist.
He
that,
didn't have a sword. All he had his hand. was
His
this.
hand out going,
that was
okay.
probably the same size as every local gaming store within 1 hour of my house.
you mean
Combined.
put together?
Combined. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I think there needs to be a word
Yeah.
there. Put together, combine something, but it's a very
was
large place.
very large, and as soon as you walk in, there's just like this
Now,
powerful smacking of sugar.
To be fair,
Because
I was gonna say it's
heavy
more
on
of
the
a.
sweets.
To be fair, I think it's
I think
more
it's more of a
sweets.
Funko Pop store.
The
Sweets and Funko Pops. What it should be called.
Yeah, but I guess that's the geeks part.
but as we
Oh,
But
like,
I mean, it's still not a small footprint for an LGS.
No.
And
Well-
it's because of the play area and no,
Oh, yeah,
they
for-
are-
yeah, for the play
But that's
area.
not the most interesting thing about the actual LGS part. So it does have some unique stuff for an LGS I've never seen anywhere else. Do you guys want to talk about that, or want me to get into it?
I think Kid Force has a very close selection.
So they have revised packs
They
you
do.
can buy.
They do.
Wow, that's rare. They have revised all the way through.
They have it.
Well, actually, they have Arabian Nights. They have
check
Legends.
down again. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because we're going to be releasing a little
Yeah, stay tuned for
compilation
that.
trip video,
No.
maybe some shorts. We took some video while we were in the store. We got to talk
Yeah.
to some of the employees there and
She was very nice.
take some footage of their incredibly.
You might hear, but you won't see her.
wide
She didn't want to be
selection.
on camera, which is fair.
Yeah, right.
I made sure to try to not leave both of them on camera. 'cause
And
I
it
just-
was Halloween when we went.
Yeah.
So that was another interesting aspect
kept
to the
forgetting.
whole trip. Yeah.
One thing I will say about Kid Force is it was not displayed as nicely as Sweets and Geeks. Sweets and Geeks had like every box. The way that Kid Force does it is like you can grab like packs. So they have them in like these like plastic dispenser things.
Yep.
They're nice, but like they're not as well displayed. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool to see like every box of history. Well, almost every box of history of Magic just like on a
Yeah, there were no
on a
alpha,
wall-
beta.
on a wall up there.
There weren't any
Yeah,
alpha
that's
beta,
why I
but
said
they had
almost.
Arabian Nights, Legends.
Yeah. It was.
Portals.
They
Three
did not. They
Kingdoms.
didn't have unlimited. There was no unlimited. They started it revised.
Yeah.
It was
That's
Well,
what
I mean,
decades worth of boxes on
yeah.
display.
If you want to go buy
and-
Urza's Legacy,
Well,
you want
that
to
was
buy
the
Urza's
thing,
Saga Pack, you can
is
go there and buy it. It's just
like,
ridiculously
for,
expensive.
Very-
1 hour
very
from now,
expensive,
I could
like
be
double.
back here and opening up a reserve list pack, and it's
Right.
like that's just insane. Because there's nothing like that. I've never seen a store that had a selection like that before.
It's
And-
pretty unique.
As far as prices go, Dominaria or Master they had for $200 for a box when like on like TCG
That
players
was
they're
like
130.
119.
Dude,
Yeah,
he
it's-
literally like poked me in the store and was like, "Yo, Pat, check this out."
Yeah, I'm like, wow, it's
But
$70.
it's nice to have the
more.
convenience,
But-
right? So, like, if you want to have it and
Yeah.
you want to have it in the next 15 minutes, you can go get it.
Well,
so,
and that's
kudos.
part of it is the idea of if you're shopping local, you are paying part of that
Premium to have it on hand.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a different kind of store. So if you're ever in the Medina, Ohio area, it's called Sweets and Geeks, and
It's
I
big.
think it's worth checking out, even if you don't buy anything.
The
And I
Andes,
did-
the Andes mints were cheap.
I did. I bought some sealed product while I was there. And
had to call it that.
unfortunately, I already informed Bob, but I'll let you guys know. I got to own up to this. I opened all that sealed product
And
all
ate
by
it.
myself. I had all of those Andy mints like that evening. So definitely worth it. Yeah, it was good.
There was a funny short that I saw where the guy had a box of cherry Pop Tarts and on the box it said like $50 and he's like, all right guys, I'm gonna open a pack of retro Pop Tarts today. He opened up, he's like, oh, that's the XO super extra rare. Like judging by the frosting, and he had them like listed on like eBay for like a certain price depending on how the frosting was. I was like, that's pretty funny because like, they have the same kind of like wrapper as a different,
So what
but,
was
yeah.
your overall impression about Sweets and Geeks?
Super fun. I think I had said out loud to you in the store, if I lived around here, I would be here way too much.
What about you? Besides the pricing, because it is pricey.
I would
never.
never. Unfortunately, I would never go because the pricing was so absorbent. Like I make good money. I don't really have to penny pinch like that. I'm fortunate enough, but I have that money that I make. I'd rather spend
That's
wisely.
why you still have that money.
And if I
yeah.
want candy, I have BA Sweeties right down the street. Like it's basically a big warehouse full of candy like
Yeah,
that,
I'm
but
definitely not
no
going there for the
LGS.
sweets.
Oh yeah, it was Laffy Taffy, Lemon Heads,
Like boxes,
Grape Heads,
like-
and-
But I would say the
Like
D
a
and D,
full
the
on.
D&D book prices were
They're
retail.
Everything's pretty
yeah.
much retail.
But some of the models were
yeah,
little on the pricey
couple
side.
$100, but you're talking like Tarrasque level. Like
Yeah.
like I'm talking.
But-
This isn't an
So
exaggeration.
I would check it out. I think it's a definite recommend. Thumbs up if you get to come out this way to Ohio. It's definitely worth a stop by to check it out. It's just a unique thing to go look at.
Spend wisely.
I mean,
Good
be
luck.
careful on that.
Good luck. Actually they had no sorcery there, but they did have that new altered game that I've talked about on the channel a couple times. I thought about picking some up, but the
It's
game
just so bizarre.
the gameplay just doesn't look great. But the concept seems cool. But what else? They had Flesh and Blood there.
They had Final Fantasy,
Final
Lorcana.
Fantasy, Lorcana.
They had MetaZoo.
Yeah, they did have MetaZoo there. Actually, a whole section full of MetaZoo. The prices were
They
insane.
had Star Wars
but-
Unlimited.
Star Wars Unlimited. Yep. She said.
incredible amount of Pokemon products.
Yeah,
as you can
Pokemon was all
imagine.
over the place. Oh, and then
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Pat,
all
you
that
had
jazz.
the case that you want to talk about.
Oh my
Well,
god.
how about we just cover that and wait?
Yeah,
That's a spoiler. You
yeah,
have to check
that's-
out his short for that one.
That's
Sure.
Oh my god, I was way
He
too
had a
happy.
really.
Well,
I'm still
let's leave the teaser out there
Yeah.
for people to catch up on, and you'll have to check out the short when we
He
release
made me
it.
take a video of it because he wanted to.
Pat
say
was
that.
into his by something he found there. Let's talk about Gamers Haven. That's in Parma.
I
Is that
think-
Parma or Parma Heights? I'm not really sure.
Parma Heights. That would actually, to me, was better. Not better.
Oh, interesting.
Better as in
Not
like
even close to me.
it's more unique. It's cool.
I
Uh,
disagree.
I
There is not rooms you can rent to do whatever the hell. Well, not do whatever you want, but they had really cool themed rooms where you can rent out for fairly cheap.
That was a
20,
cool
$20 a day.
Shtick.
yeah.
You can go in there and play open gaming. Now I think Sweets and Geeks did have that where you can like open gaming, like you can go like do like
Yeah,
Warhammer.
you just don't have to pay for
tables.
it.
I don't think you have to pay for the Warhammer tables, but if you want a
Not for the
special room,
tables,
you had
yeah.
to. But like if you want to play D&D, so the way I was thinking about it, so we run D&D on the channel, and if we ever wanted to introduce a new player, I wouldn't want to just bring them to my house without knowing them if they're just some person on the internet.
yeah.
This would be a cool idea to be able to rent a room at a place we got a public place we can all go to, and then vet that person maybe a couple times. It was really cool, different themes, different paintings on the wall, different like art. There was like a staircase going up on one of them. I think to me that's unique. I don't know of any other place you can do that besides there was a place called the Malted Meeple. That was a
Closed.
very cool concept, but they closed. So Gamers Haven, and I think she said they were under new management.
Yeah.
So another place that was near me, another LGS called the Rogues Den, they closed down as well because of COVID.
I would say that is at least 10 times smaller than Sweets and Geeks.
The size
Oh,
doesn't matter. It's all about how you
yeah.
use it.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I disagree with you because the variety of things that you can do in Sweets and Geeks is much broader.
I would say that was more what I was expecting of a local gaming store, and realistically, they had a reasonably small
Oh,
selection.
you haven't seen. You'll have to wait for Trip 2 to see some of the more unique
Right,
gaming
right.
stores
Yeah.
in this
Kid Force
area.
blows away Sweets and Geeks by a mile.
That's what we should do.
They have
Next
competitive.
time-
They have
next-
competitive pricing. They have everything you want. The sleeve selection is massive. Pretty much every card game you can imagine. They've got multi-tiered levels. Nowhere near the size, but to me, as an LGS, that's what I don't give a crap about all the candy. There's so much candy. It is everywhere.
all the different types of
Kid Force is cool.
soda
That's my favorite shop.
and all that. Yeah. I think that I was very surprised at how little actual like trading card product that there was.
Right.
They didn't
it doesn't
have
feel
a
like
lot
an
to
LGS.
buy. That's
It's like
what I
tucked
mean.
away in a corner, like off.
I
It's,
think
it's
realistically,
cool.
so as part of the huge
But it's
draft
not
we did.
advertised as an LGS.
No, I know.
Well, so to my point, when we did that chaos draft, we wanted to sleeve everything up because all the cards were going back to their owners.
Yeah, we forgot about sleeves.
So right, we forgot about sleeves, so we had to leave and go get some. So we went there. We bought the majority.
Oh
of
yeah,
what
they only had
on
Dragon
product.
Shield, and they had like one shelf full of sleeves.
And we bought
that was disappointing.
most of their stores like line of sleeves, like everything that they had on shelf.
Which
we
is
bought most of.
It's
which is
weird because she was saying that they do
Yeah, so
tournament.
if we had come in 20 minutes later and somebody else had done the same thing, that would suck.
Or we'd have to be buying $25 pack of sleeves with like metallic.
They
mat.
had more sleeves and stuff at Sweets and Geeks.
Well, yeah, Gamers Haven had nothing. What's weird is she said they do tournaments, Flesh and Blood. They do
Very little
Star Wars
product.
Unlimited, but so they had like nothing, which is strange.
Yeah. So
Very, very little product.
Maybe they were going.
They could be under. She said they're under new management. Maybe they're working on like getting into
moving
that
things
stuff.
around
We'll see.
and stuff.
I don't
and
know.
then, you know,
I'll
as
keep
you
an
can
eye on it.
imagine, there was an overweight guy in the back, hunched over, painting a,
Doing
like pewter.
painting minis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they have a full case that he paints minis, and they're pricey. But
Yeah.
custom painted miniatures typically are pricey.
He had two
Yeah.
cheeks
They
out
look
like a,
good.
like a
So-
shaved man.
That was, I mean, it was interesting, you know, I guess to say, I assume your experience hitting foreign local games, local LGSs,
Oh yeah.
was an interesting experience to come here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been something that I've noted internally and as well in conversation in passing. In living in such a rural area, everything here is just like on a different scale.
I don't even think it's that
Except for
big
the
compared to-
horizons, you know, it's super. You don't want to look outside. It's a terrible place, honestly. Don't come here. It's totally not worth it. But the amount of things to do, there's so many different local gaming stores. I have to drive, you know, at least a half hour. It's 25 minutes minimum.
I think we got 10 plus in a half hour radius.
J-
Pretty easily.
I don't even know if there's like that many in my state. So it's definitely a total different experience, and because they cater to such a larger population, they're able to maintain such a larger footprint for store size. They can hold more events. I mean, that's interesting. To go to a Flesh and Blood play event, I'd have to drive at least one full hour each way.
Oh, there'd be multiple.
We've got Mr. Cards and Comics, which is probably no bigger than like these 2 rooms put together. They're very, very small.
They have no scale for how big these 2 rooms
I'm telling
are.
him.
Yeah.
Giving him the idea of how big it is.
I know, guys.
I know, but we should
Trip's
be
been about
letting
me.
the audience know. So these
What
2
I'm
rooms
saying,
together,
it's a very small footprint, but the nice thing about it is that he does tournaments. He can fit like to 24 people, I think. And like, there's a lot in it for what it is.
Yeah.
But it's probably very similar to. My guess is that's the typical card shop you're used to.
Yeah.
Very small footprint, but they got a lot built in.
Packed.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as possible.
just to give you guys a relative comparison for footprint size, when Matt's talking about these 2 rooms put together, it's probably like 20 by 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, around there.
Right. So about 400 square feet.
Absolutely. My local gaming store, Brad, shout out.
Local LGS.
Exactly. My local gaming
Local
store
gaming store LGS.
is probably about 15 feet wide and 25 feet long, and then there's a separate play area in the back, which is only open for certain events. That's maybe like 15 by 15. So that's also in our capital. Like, that's in the state capital.
So
that's the
just-
big one. You know?
I guess the overall message there is that, going to visit friends, you can also experience something that's,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
broadens your horizons of
You get access
the
to a lot of
reality
things
of what
you don't.
everybody's
Yeah.
experiencing out there. And understand that we're nowhere on the scale of, like, let's say Los Angeles,
Yeah,
Miami,
right,
Las
right.
Vegas, those large cities that,
Which
like
is
when I lived
weird
there,
because of all the crime you have
because
here.
Cleveland, Cleveland, while it's a big-ish metropolitan area, it is pretty spread out for the population. Whereas like a Vegas that has 2 million people,
They're
is
right up on
much
top of
more
each other.
Yeah, we
condensed.
have anywhere between 11 and 117 million people in the states. So
according to AI.
And if
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
on,
yeah,
right?
But what I'm saying is, like in Los Angeles, you could have a greater number, and they do. I looked; they're like really condensed with game stores, and you're going to have different experiences depending on where you go. So I highly encourage going out to your friends. Part of Magic the Gathering, and really any gaming group, like when we went to Indianapolis. There is a large Magic presence at Gen Con.
Yeah.
But you realize that there is a large, broad audience of people for all different types of gaming. So if you're into gaming, you can go
also,
visit
they had
friends.
a
and-
massive area for Commander. Like, it was.
Oh, it was big. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it wasn't. And it does have a large presence there as Magic. But I prefer Gen Con to the Magic Con simply because at Magic Con, you're pretty much limited to Magic, like by and large. You're not going to be playing other games and experiencing other things. I love Gen Con for that variety of experience. But what I'm saying there is that going there or going to other places to gather, it's not just Magic to gather.
Well, it's same thing for
board
this
game
trip.
gathering. It's it's Pathfinder gathering. It's D&D gathering.
Yeah, just take some damage.
Yeah, right. Well, so
we'll get into that some other time.
That's kind of a through line is that for this trip as well is that it hasn't been just about Magic the Gathering. We certainly did. We had a huge draft night. We played some Commander raids.
We played
just
Commander
hanging
Raids
out.
last night. We played.
Got Matt to finally.
Yeah, I played my very first game of Lorcana.
Yeah, right. And what were your thoughts on that? So we did.
Let's be specific about what we played.
The Ursula's Trove, or what is it called?
Oh, dadgummit.
Ursula's Deep
It's
Trouble.
the Illuminer's Quest. It's
Okay. Ursula's Revenge.
It's the PvE version of
So what's that?
Cooperative.
Cooperative
Yeah.
format where we got to group up and fight against Ursula. We did easy mode, right?
Yes.
easy mode
we
with
did easy
and
mode.
it's not just easy mode. We did
But
them with two
I
pre
played a powerful deck with Lilo and that's
Diablo,
Oh, Diablo. was
Mother
the other one.
Gothel.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I never did that.
Topaz,
There's apparently
No,
some-
he pitched Mother Gothel.
Yeah,
Like,
it's too easy.
she would basically trivialize the game.
It seems like it's like kind of easy mode. Like if you ever play Commander Raids, there's just some cards that are just kind of like
This is
it's almost
way
auto
too good.
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
But
feel
you
like
played
Mother
Diablo
Gothel's
late
probably auto
and
win.
you pitched Mother Gothel, so you just basically took
I
the
tried to
aggro piece.
I mulliganed all 7 of my first cards trying to get to Diablo. Because I was like, I want to get to Diablo. He seems busted.
He is. Well, I mean, but so is Mother Gothel. She's really, you're using Diablo to get
So the
basically
notes,
the Mother
the
Gothel.
notes that I have from my experience of Lorcana was that it's simplistic, it's very solitary, and overall not bad. It was one of those
Very
things
solitary. I don't know. We had to help Pat get
where
him.
well,
The-
they feel like
you
take your
do
turn.
yours
You all
and then-
take your turns together, and in my experience of watching competitive Lorcana, where like people are facing each other, it seems like there's so little interaction, and the only interaction that I had with Pat or with Bob are these like things that you can do with your extra lore or any lore you have. Is it lore?
Lore.
Yeah. With any lore you have, you can like do these options, whatever, depending on what your mode you're playing on. Like I can be like, hey Pat, draw 2 cards, and then like, hey Pat, untap one of your dudes so you can like quest again.
Or heal some damage off.
But the cards in my hand, none of them helped my player, not the opponents. It was just like without that mode, I'm just playing my own cards. All right, I'm done. You guys done? Let's go. All right.
That is true, but that's what they built the experience
No, I
for.
get it. It's just it's weird.
And,
it's not normal
and let's
to me.
let's be a little bit fair to Lorcana that it's a year-old game. You know, it's not like it's been around for 20 years to mature
I
like
think
Magic.
That, even on that
Well, it's just
note,
designed
though,
differently.
for being in its first year of development, being at the point where they have what seemed to be a pretty well fleshed out PvE, whereas Flesh and Blood, who's been around
God.
for what 5 years at this point,
And it
has
still doesn't have one?
been unable to produce that. And
I don't even know if they are, to be honest.
well,
They could be struggling to the point where they can't do it.
Like just the mechanics are not making it palpable
they just
or
don't
palatable.
have. They just don't have the development time probably, or because they're trying to keep the company alive. I don't know how like successful they are, but I know that they're not doing like super well.
their box prices don't seem to
they're not-
reflect a very banging
They are not
market.
doing
They're not
Right.
tanking.
Yeah, I don't know what you
They're not.
consider
They're
tanking.
not MetaZoo like situation.
They're not Tales of Aria situation, which is what we were at.
Right.
Well, but I mean,
But
Tales of
you're-
Aria is in that situation,
Well, I don't know. I haven't.
and
looked
that
at
is
it.
Flesh and Blood.
Maybe I'll be less disappointed by looking up Tales of Aria.
But I mean,
So
what's your overall impression of it, positive or negative? Just to sum it up in a 2-second sentence.
I don't think that I would ever buy any Lorcana product to play for myself, but I don't. But I did have fun playing with friends.
I think that's a really interesting note because so many independent interactions with a game might not be enjoyable, but when you add the aspect of like I'm doing this with people I enjoy and the jokes we're getting to have and the back and forth of conversation adds that level of enjoyment that by nature you would not have had with it. So I think that I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, Tales of Aria ain't looking.
Damn, all
Two-
that,
$50 a box.
All that first edition.
First edition, 205 for a case of 4. And I think I spent
$51 a box.
I think I spent anywhere between 400 and 600 for a case. I'm fairly certain.
I
Somewhere
still
around there.
think I had gotten the box I have at 42.
I'm
some
holding
idiot
them to the
on eBay
moon.
was just like-
I'm just never gonna sell
So,
them.
so I am probably much more enthused about Lorcana, especially the PvE version, than Matt is. But I'm going
It
to
was
say I
fine.
think he had a decent time. But some of the other games that we played while Pat's been here, we had Darkside Rising, which you can't get in the U.S. It's a cooperative deck and dice builder.
Star Wars.
I think that was your first time
IP.
playing too, as well,
Yeah,
right, Matt?
I've never played it yet.
It's an interesting style. Like, what would you even call it? A dice builder? A team builder?
It
a
reminded
deck
me of
builder?
Star Wars Destiny, kind of. Like where you get dice based on
But
your,
I mean,
your
like,
hero.
as far as like classification of games, there's like deck builders and mini games.
It's a dice
and,
builder. You get heroes that allow you to roll better dice. Or
and you
more
keep
dice.
recruiting more heroes,
Yeah.
though. So it's
So it's a
almost
dice-
like a
it's a dice
deck builder
builder.
in that case. But you're not shuffling through
Your
the deck.
dice are
It's
the
just-
only thing that
you're building your
matters,
team.
really.
It's a team building dice builder.
Sure. It was
Because
fine.
some of the team doesn't just add dice; it manipulates the dice, or it does a healing, or it
If you
does
like
something.
rolling dice, that's a game for you.
It is very
I
dynamic.
had a
with
lot of
dice.
fun doing this BS.
You certainly did.
But like, it got to the point Bob was like, 1, quit it. 2, Matt, please get me one of my dice trays.
Yeah,
And
because
then I
dice
went
are
and got
dice
them.
are gone. All
So
over
that
the
was
place.
one of the things I disliked about Darkside Rising. Was not the amount of dice, the small little squares that would track our progress of damage and the
Yeah,
repercussions.
you can end
of
up knocking
like,
shit all over the place.
well, that's
That's
one of the reasons, as a big risk head, right? One of the largest drawbacks to the classical game Risk is you've got all these tiny little figurines everywhere. So if someone even as much coughs
just go,
distinctly
"Damn
hard,
it."
yeah, like
and that happens.
very much so. Not that we're going all Magic Wubby on it, flipping stuff, but
Ooh, Star Wars Unlimited is on the front page of TCG. In order to get into this bracket, that's rare. I don't know why Digimon's still here. Is Digimon popular? Do you guys? anyone
I've
plays
never
Digimon?
even seen it played, and I've
Why
never
is it
taken the
here?
time to go. I don't know.
so one
I
of-
understand One Piece. I get Lorcana, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic,
So I've got to
Flesh
say,
and Blood.
one of my
But Digimon?
I think Digimon has one of my favorite
Maybe it's
card
really popular in like,
progressions
Japan or
in
something?
games. like you know how Pokemon you start with like Bulbasaur and then it goes up to Ivysaur and then Venusaur or whatever, right? In Digimon they start as like an adorable little pet and then they get into like a giant tiger, then it goes into a hot woman and then a tank. So like that is a great progression of awesome cards.
What does that have to do with the card game? It has to be doing well enough to be on the front
That's
page.
why people are buying it.
Because of the
Because
hot,
of hot
women?
Hot
Gotcha.
women and tanks.
Are there hot women? Let's
Bro,
find
why
out.
do you think people buy Sorcery? It's not
I mean,
because of the
we
gameplay.
do have a little bit of limited time. Sorry, it's going to have to be a shorter one tonight, folks, because we do have engagements to get to here pretty soon, and I would like to cover some of the rest of it before we get to
Yeah,
it.
30 minutes.
One of the other I got to get ready in about 10 minutes.
All right. Well, you know, the last thing we talked
but-
about, Bob's going to step out for.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. I'll let you guys cover that one, and I can start getting ready.
That's when I run
but
out
we
of
have more to
energy,
cover
yeah.
before that, though. We also played a game, one of my favorites. Just finished it up a little bit ago before.
He's not wrong.
She turns into a tank after that.
I don't find
Oh,
that
sorry,
hot.
one of your
What?
favorite
This isn't
games
hot?
that we got to enjoy together.
It's actually a line of games. It's called,
yeah.
And we saw one at a game
Yeah.
store that actually I
that
put
one,
on my
that one
wish
seems
list.
like it really, that's probably
so
more
it's
on my
called
own.
Legendary, and they have many different flavors of Legendary. It's put out by
You want
a
me to
company
grab
that
that?
pisses me off. Nah, it's all
Okay,
chewed
yeah.
up.
Okay.
It's called
It's 'cause the
Legendary
roving packs of
Encounters,
dogs
and then
are
they
really
have
good.
different flavors.
Yeah.
They actually, my good friends have one for Legendary Fire.
I was real hungry, sorry.
They have Legendary Firefly. They have Legendary Marvel. They have Legendary Aliens. And all these have like expansions that we saw. I don't
How
remember
was
which
it you
store. Was
own
it
the
Susan
one
Geeks?
I was like apparently the least enthused for? Because I had a lot of fun playing that. All the rules made sense. You could read the card, you could play the game, and like
We played Legendary Aliens, by the way.
which I've seen the movie like once or twice, and along with that, it's just not been like a huge like following for me as an IP. So it was the gameplay itself that made me enjoy it so much. I think that a Marvel version of it would be really interesting. I love Firefly.
Mechanics is just not great for the Marvel one.
And when we were at Sweets and Geeks, we were able to
We sat-
peek on one of the
Matrix, baby.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm enthused about that.
I think it would be a really fun thing for like with my play group. We aren't able to do Magic as much as we would want. So every once in a while, having something like that, I think my buddy's wife or some younger folks might be able to get in with it as well. And you buy the game for whatever price it's going to be, and you get repeatable enjoyment out of it. Whereas if you buy a box of Altered, right? You open it up, as if you're not playing with those cards, you have to like slot it into other stuff. I like the sealed board game aspect of it.
So
It's fun.
Legendary is, especially the Aliens, is a cooperative deck builder. So you start with kind of bullshit cards that are just
Oh, yeah,
entry level.
They're basic.
Yeah, very generic
help you-
stuff. Yeah.
They give you resources to attack the enemy and buy and recruit new cards.
If you ever played Xenoshift, it's another very similar game.
But each of them are thematic, and they have different structures to them that are attempting to be thematic to the IP that they're in.
Oh, and
So-
Bob's favorite game, Attack on Titan, similar to that. as
Oh
well.
God, I think I would rather lick shoes than play that game again. I hated that game so bad I just gave it away. But it's challenging.
Yeah, we lost the first one very quickly.
It
they
was
lost.
brutal.
They got really unlucky with the eggs.
Yeah, I got a face hugger, which
Like
turned
on
into
turn
a
two.
chest burster, and then I was
Literally, I
pretty
think
much
it's
out.
turn 2.
Turn
Yeah.
2, then turn 3 for you. And then
Yeah.
they end up having.
And
to
then
draw
he was
that
dead
way
on turn
around.
5, and I was dead on turn 6.
And
So
then Matt just
And then I tried to solo it, but it was too
he died
much.
on like turn 12.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately.
in essence, it's not easy. It's not a foregone conclusion for a game that you play.
No.
And,
And that was the tutorial you said, right?
yeah, that's the introductory scenario that we played. So it can get pretty brutal. And some of the other game versions can be pretty brutal. The one that I found the least challenging and very mundane pedestrian was the Marvel one. It might have been their
Okay.
first one, and I'm like, eh. I definitely loved the thematic way that they made the game feel like the IP for Alien. I watched
Oh, yeah,
Alien
very,
dozens
it was
of times.
very alien.
Very thematic, which I love. I hate when they grab an IP for something
And it's just not.
and it has nothing to really do with that IP, or very little, or it's a very low effort for trying to make it feel like part of that universe.
That was one. It's a. You mentioned IP. Next year, 2025, Magic the Gathering, 50% of the IP being released next year is not Magic the Gathering. How does that make you feel?
Well, I'll say this about Magic. I think they're actually terrible at making
Thematic.
the IPs feel thematic.
Jurassic Park was nailed. That was good.
Especially in Lost Caverns of Ixalan,
Yeah,
with all
Jurassic
the other
Park was
dinosaurs, that was
Okay, explain to me how Ixalan feels anything like Godzilla. Or not Ixalan. Sorry.
Ikoria,
Ikoria.
There was big dumb monsters.
giant mutants and
Yeah,
stuff.
I think Ikoria was another banger.
Yeah,
You have Godzilla stomping all over cities. Like, it just doesn't feel like that to me. Saving you from the bad guys. It just...
I
It's
don't know.
not
I thought
thematic
they
of
did a good job.
what Godzilla is and
Warhammer
represents to me.
40K was done well. Now let's see. Assassin's Creed.
Doctor Who.
Assassin's Creed and Doctor Who.
Doctor Who was
were
definitely
kinda-
somebody shit the bed on Doctor
They
Who.
were kind of weird.
Which I'm glad that it did, because
I mean,
hate Doctor Who
basically, to
actively.
me, it feels like everything that you might say it makes the gameplay feel thematic to the IP. I disagree. Lord of the Rings.
No.
How does that feel at
I don't
all
think
thematic
it's-
to their heroic journey? Not at all.
I don't think it. No. I don't. I
And
don't
you're
think
hoping for the One Ring.
the cards are flavorful. You want the One Ring. It makes total sense. You got Sauron, who's like tempting.
No, but the people want to destroy the One Ring.
Wow, they want it for its power. I thought.
No, they want to just
Well, they want to keep it out of Sauron's
Isn't
hands,
it that
right?
everyone
right, but they're
wants
not
to
trying
want
to use it. They want to destroy it.
Everybody has a desire to hold it, but they all know that it needs to be destroyed, right? So everybody is
But there's
like
a difference
after
between
it.
holding it and using it. And in the game, you're using it. And
Why can't you use it? Like,
it's not like you
I
just
don't
have
know.
it.
It,
It's
like,
not like you just have it in your
takes
hand
away
to
your
keep it from
sanity or
anybody else
something.
using it.
But it
and
doesn't
so
take
you,
away
so you
his.
can get rid of it. It's
He's
you're
got
using it.
willpower or something.
So at any rate, it just feels to me like they're just borrowing the IPs for skins just to put window dressing on it to try to push product.
Speaking of,
it doesn't feel thematic.
Speaking of pushing product, make sure that you're gonna buy as much
November
Marvel.
4th.
Yeah, right.
That's 2 days from now, folks.
There's a secret
Yeah.
lair coming out. It's a Marvel themed secret lair, so it's
I'm
different.
giving a thumbs up on it, as much as I hate to do it. But I think
You've got Wolverine. You've got Iron
Oh,
Man.
dude.
Storm. Storm is nuts.
yeah.
Wolverine
I'm gonna say
actually is pretty
the
nuts
one I'm
too.
going to buy the most of,
Storm.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Oh, he's
Red,
okay.
white, and blue, baby. He's gonna fit with the new
He's
Psycho.
cool.
But it's not about the
It's-
commander.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's thematic, but he's not like super.
But
good.
it's actually what's in his
Dark
secret
Steel.
lair.
Commander's.
Commander's
Plate.
Plate.
Looks
Yeah,
pretty
there's
cool.
But it's Commander's
Also
Plate.
the
I think it's
Soul
Soul
Ring.
Ring.
He
Yeah.
gets like the arc
Like
reactor soul
it's
ring
just
thing.
I just
You guys know Soul Ring, right? Really powerful magic card.
it's not banned
Yeah, they're like, why would
Not
ever-
banned.
Why would you ever ban that card? It's iconic.
because it's too iconic.
yeah,
'Cause there's been
I
so
just
many sets.
I have no words for that.
I still think Jeweled Lotus is more iconic than Soul Ring.
I
To
agree
me-
with
to me.
you.
It's literally a
Amen.
card formatted for
everybody
it.
disagreed with me on at the freaking draft.
I
I found Jewel Lotus to be far more iconic of Commander than freaking
of
Soul Ring.
Commander or of Magic the Gathering as like a whole.
Of Commander,
Just Commander.
the Commander only
That's all,
card.
that's all we care about is
Soul Ring.
Commander.
It's to me, it's still Soul Ring.
Totally
Soul
disagree.
Ring has the longest running use in that format.
So,
Wrong.
But if you think
For me,
of the two.
Okay, but let's add 3 then, because
No, we don't
Mana
need to do that. We're only comparing Soul
Mana
Ring.
Crypt has been there just as long as Soul Ring,
right,
but they just chose to ban the one, not the other.
But I still think Jeweled Lotus is
More
it's literally-
iconic of
It's
it.
literally it's the Black Lotus for Commander.
It is the most representational to
it's
me.
a commander card, but
It's the most commander card.
It's only in Commander
So-
card.
For clarification,
True.
reason why I say Soul Ring. My pod, nobody plays Jeweled Lotus at all. It has
Yeah.
never even been like
why not?
at all a discussion. We have a maximum price value of $500 for a deck, and if you're going to spend $100 on Jeweled Lotus, you're a fucking idiot.
I bet you.
I agree with that, and I'll agree with that for one reason, because they didn't ban Soul Ring, which I find overall more powerful than Jeweled Lotus, especially in fast mana.
I don't think they disagree that it's powerful. They were just saying it's immune.
But
But it's more iconic than the only Commander Black Lotus type card that can only be spent on
If
Commanders.
you go by EDH rec, yeah, I guess. I disagree.
second part of
But you
that-
found with EDH,
We're
that
just-
even Mana Crypt was only used in what 11% of decks.
We're just two fucking guys on the internet. We can't convince all these
I
noobs.
just and
then-
none of it made sense to
And
me.
then along with why I think Soul Ring is so ubiquitous as a commander card for me is that turn 1 Soul Ring into Arcane Signet is just like this guy is instantly
I'll
the
say
problem.
Arcane
And
Signet is
that's,
more-
That's a pop.
To me, Arcane Signet is also more identifiable as a commander identity card.
I love that they finally said that they believe
Because
it was a
you can
mistake
use
to have
so-
made
you-
Arcane Signet.
Because
You
it's
can
an-
use Soul Ring in many other formats.
I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake saying it's a mistake.
What?
They're saying Arcane Signet was a mistake because of their philosophy that they don't want to build cards that feel like it's
Command Tower?
Yeah, exactly. They think that's a mistake as well. They don't
Commander
want,
Sphere?
They don't want the command. It's a dog shit card, but they don't want.
I'm just saying.
I know, but they don't want cards to feel like an auto include. What percentage of people play Commander Sphere? I used to, but
There was actually a little fun caveat to the.
Well, then
the draft.
ban the One Ring as well.
Guesses? Commander Sphere. What percentage of total decks play it? I'm thinking
6.
1.8.
Oh no way! You guys are wild.
1.8%.
That's Commander Sphere is the biggest noob track. People think it should be an auto include.
Yeah.
Some people,
But it's also
the
in
masses.
It's also in almost all the freaking precons.
Yeah, so it should be high. You want it to be high.
I said at least 6%.
6%. I'm thinking
least,
no,
at least.
35%.
I'm
Under
gonna say
2.
at least 6. I'm gonna have to let you guys start talking about sorcery soon.
Ugh.
16%. Damn it! I really thought 35.
Well.
So I lose. Price is Right. Bob wins.
Yep. Such
I
as
was
life.
I was way off though. 6% is much
but
higher.
Price is Right rules
Yeah.
closest to without going
Well,
over.
but now look at the One Ring.
Ooh, One Ring 50. No, 40,
I'm gonna say 42%.
40. Yeah, I was gonna say right
42.
around 40. It's too expensive.
42.
31.
Bob.
31.
42.
31.
I mean,
No, 20, 24. 24.
All right, before he hits go, what do you guys say in the audience before you reveal?
Put that in the comments.
in
Don't
the
fast
comments.
forward to
Put
it.
it
Put it
in
in the
the-
comments. What percentage of Commander decks do you feel
that in the
EDH
comment
Rec
section.
has the One Ring in?
18%.
I said 20. What did I say? 24?
You said 24. What'd you say?
18.
8. It's too
Wow.
expensive. It's because of the
Too
$100.
expensive.
That's why I kept going lower and lower because I'm like, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
It should be an auto include in every deck, but not everybody has $100 to throw at it.
Or $2 million Post Malone style.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did pay $2 million to put one in his deck.
I will say
I don't even think he
I
put
don't-
it in his deck.
he probably does. No way he doesn't play with that card. It's sealed. He has it graded for sure.
he- it'll
be in a greatest
Yeah,
slab.
yeah,
He plays with it.
He's
but
one
not
of those
like
guys that
puts
brings
it on
this is
deck.
his deck box.
That's the ball.
Post Malone, like, it seems more like the guy that would have stuff sleeved up, but that would be a collector's item to him.
Maybe.
I don't think that he'd probably
do.
like take it out while he's smoking a blunt.
I
or
don't
something
own a
to,
single slab
like,
card. I
Play
don't-
with it.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if you know
don't-
that about me. I don't
Me
hold
neither.
with slab cards. I don't
Do
even
you,
like
do you
them.
still have your slab card?
Nah, I sold that
Sold them?
shit.
You got in there before it went tanky.
Money.
I think they're still
I
bad.
didn't tank hard.
They
but-
tanked real hard.
More than 50% loss
Yeah.
since
Oh,
I sold
okay.
it.
Oh, it's real
Yeah.
bad.
Well, it's not AC Gyre Tyrant Straight kind of tank.
No.
Did
But
you see that? You didn't respond.
I don't know why
It
you mentioned
could
it. It had
not-
nothing to do with the Secret Lair, right? That was just a
No,
normal
it's
printing.
just a reprint.
We were talking
One
about
reprint.
We were talking about Secret Lair reprints. I was saying the Secret Lairs I don't think impact the if it's the only reprint Secret Lair I don't think impacts the price over a long distance of time as long as they don't keep reprinting it in other sets.
Well, they keep reprinting them in Secret Lairs.
Mickey Mouse.
yeah,
Many cards they just keep hitting even in Secret Lairs, like
Yeah.
Teferi's Protection.
Was it in
which is
Lorcana?
still not cheap by any stretch.
Sword.
No, but it is a ubiquitous card.
Yeah, it's definitely a good reprint.
You have to look up
card.
promos.
It's this one, right?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking
Yeah.
forward to the
$75
Yikes.
for lightly played. Hold on, near mint $80. Oof. It's not too bad.
It was like 100
it was
when
like-
we were at
It
Gen
was,
Con.
no, it was over 200. And if you got it graded at like a 9 or a 10, it was like $600.
No, they were like
$700.
100 and went down to like 60
You sold
bucks.
yours for like 400, didn't you?
But that's
free.
graded. You're not looking at a graded one. Secondly,
We definitely should get.
they went up to like 100 or 120 while we were at Gen Con and immediately tanked down to like 40 bucks.
I remember them being way more day of Gen Con,
Yeah.
but then they tanked. Yeah.
By the
hoping-
time I left, they were like 40 or 50 bucks because they just so many of them hit the market.
I'm hoping over the
And
course of
so
time.
they
I'm
stabilized, they
holding. To
went
the
back
moon,
up.
diamond hands.
Diamond hands.
Diamond hands.
Diamond hands.
I'm holding them forever.
I'm holding them simply because why get rid of them? I don't need the freaking money.
I don't want them. This does not.
What do you
I don't-
mean?
Mickey Mouse does nothing to me. No,
Now,
I want
now
money.
that Matt has
Here,
played
I'll
Lorcana-
trade. How about I trade you my Star Wars Unlimited for your Mickey Mouse?
I don't want that either. I'd rather have Mickey Mouse because it's more iconic, and if Lorcana continues to do well, then they'll be worth more money later on. I don't see Star Wars Limited being...
speaking about that, one of the things that kind of struck me, even at 4 sets per year, it feels a little fast for being so new. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
they are
say that for
coming up on their
Sorcery is
sixth
doing it a
set
little
for
bit
Lorcana
better
in 2 weeks.
at, like really pacing it out and not oversaturating the market and maintaining it. And on that note, we're going to talk about Sorcery as an IP, and you guys played it for the very first time here, so I'll give my thoughts on it.
So, I have notes here for Sorcery because we had an experience. So, at the moment, has potential as like the first and probably the only positive thing that I have to say about it. But it's extremely rough to try to learn how to play. Sorry, turning off the other microphone. We don't need that. So
This is all pre-planned. It wasn't that he just ghosted us. That was like a joke we had going.
So Pat and I, we played some Sorcery, and it was probably of every single card game I've ever played, and I've tried Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited, Star Wars Destiny, Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, Digimon, Pokemon. What other ones? We've got Wyvern, like a 30-year-old game that's died, and that was still more easy to learn. It's just they've got these like superfluous words that like don't mean anything, but the way it's worded like it could mean something, and you have to like try Googling what the fuck they mean. For instance, I'm going to give an example. There's a creature in the deck that he was playing. He was playing I was playing the fire deck, and he was playing the earth deck. Geomancer. I was playing the pyromancer, probably.
Yeah.
Pyromancer felt good. Most of the cards made sense. They had like...
I was so jealous at the end of like turn 1 because you were doing things. It was like...
I'm like, yeah, I've got lands that ping, and honestly, I felt like my deck was like designed to kill your deck. Everything that I did countered everything you did. It was so easy. But yeah, so here's the thing. So I'm going to give an example of the card that he had, which we had to like spend 30 minutes or, well, it wasn't that long. It was 10 minutes. Yeah, so Slumbering Giant Test. It has Genesis. Genesis makes sense. When it enters the battlefield, do something. It says very specifically, Genesis, arrow, fall asleep. Now, if you were trying to learn a game, would you not think that fall asleep was a term that you should find out what it means? So you would go into the rulebook and put Control F, asleep. Nothing. 0 results. They don't even tell you that it's flavor text. Try Googling it. 0 results. You literally can't figure out what the hell fall asleep means. So then I'm like, oh, okay. And then afterwards it says Slumbering Giant Test is disabled until hurt. Okay, hurt makes sense. If it takes damage, it's no longer disabled.
But what are the specifications of disabled?
So then disabled. What the hell does disabled mean? We figured out disabled is the word that we need to care about, but then you have to go look at disabled, and disabled has a bunch of words that don't mean anything.
This creature falls asleep. So it's the 6th word that we actually need to look up that's on the card.
It should just say Genesis disabled. Fall asleep means nothing there. It's flavor text. Why would you have flavor text in the rules of a card? Put it at the bottom. She's a sleepy girl. Cool.
Yeah.
It's so strange to me. And even in the text document, or in the rule book, the way they describe things is so fucking ancient. It's like it is the most difficult card game I've ever tried to learn how to play, and I've played a ton. I listed a bunch of them, and there's more. I'm sure I'm missing some. We played Soulforge, easier to learn. In Disney Lorcana, I didn't even have to know I didn't look up any videos. I've never read about how to play the game, and I immediately played the game immediately. Like, It was so easy. It's made for children. It should be easy. But it wasn't frustrating.
Playable.
Yeah, it wasn't frustrating. It wasn't. I didn't have to like constantly Google things to try to figure out what one thing meant.
Matt joined a Discord last night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I went to a Discord trying to figure out because like basically, people kept talking about join the Discord and then
for rules clarifications.
So they expect you while you're learning the game to go join their Discord and then type in the rules questions chat constantly to learn how to play the game. I watched YouTube videos to try to learn how to play.
Burrow.
They go over some things. Another example that we had to... I still don't know the answer.
So, burrow. There are some creatures... There was like a big nose knoll, and it has burrowing.
The cave troll. Yeah, he seemed good.
So... you have
You play it
land.
underneath the site.
Yeah, you have land cards. The one thing that I found very interesting, we didn't get to explore much of because the actual creatures that you play in the game don't explain things enough, including this concept of burrowing. When you have a site, you usually put creatures on top. If they have burrowing, they go underneath.
I like this.
This seems like okay,
Yeah.
but how do I get them from underneath to up top? If there's an enemy on top, what does the guy on the bottom do? What are my options? What your options are is to go on the internet to look it up because the rules book that they give you doesn't explain it. So you try looking
It's
it up.
described in ways that doesn't make it more clear is the problem when you look up the rules.
It feels like a Swede wrote all of it in Dutch and then just like translated it into English.
I do feel like it is. Can I look in my downloads? Because I think it's a PDF. Or no, I can just click on this.
I just hope you guys can't see his
annotated rulebook.
downloads. Don't look at those.
It's not. So I'm gonna control F for burrowing. It comes up 9 times. I want to get to the actual text burrowing. All right, so here's the keyword ability. The way this is worded aggravates me immediately. This unit can safely summon. Wait, hold on. This unit can be safely summoned to, exist in, and operate normally underground. What is the exist in and operate normally? The way that's worded is just so superfluous. That's the best word to describe it. And then it says, when taking a step, it can instead move from the surface of a land site to the underground level there, or vice versa. So that's fine. I understand how it works. If it's underground, you can tap it to move 1 step up to go above ground, and then you can defend or intercept if you want to. It's just that it's so difficult to get to that like understanding. The way everything's laid out, it's very.
It took us probably 20 minutes to figure out that if you tap a card, you can move 1 space.
Yeah. Oh God, trying to find out how many steps a unit can take is wild.
Stay tuned for what's going to be the most popular sorcery video ever made. How to move a card.
Yeah, I Googled it. I checked in the provided booklet in the starter deck. I tried searching steps within the actual the rules book, and that's where I found it. And it's like a one-liner, and the word step comes up a billion times. So like trying to figure out where that is, that's like the most basic thing. Moving a creature. That should be like this should guarantee be in the starter deck one.
Because how the game is designed is there is a 4x5 grid, 5x4 grid, and each of us have 1 spot on the opposite sides of the field. And each turn, depending on how we allocate our actions, we are able to add more land tiles onto the field. Without our stuff connecting to each other, we cannot actually damage each other. So if you put a unit down, you have to be able to move it. So it's a very critical part of the game. And
just figuring out how to make a step was just ridiculous.
I think in maybe the 90 minutes, that's about what we allocated to the whole endeavor.
Yeah.
Probably about 90 minutes. We spent an hour trying to figure out how to play the game, or 50%, at least 45 minutes we spent frustrated.
A lot of it was it was very frustrating, and I don't mind the game being difficult or
challenging
to play.
We've lost
but
games,
this was
and it's been fun.
I think that like if I were to like rewind time and if I were to play the game the very first time with a player that knows everything and knows exactly how to play and can tell me like step by step, boom, boom, boom. Because like we even watched videos that like went over like what stuff is, but they like leave things out. They're like how many steps can a unit make? Nowhere in 2 different videos we watched talked anything about how many steps a unit can make. They just say they make us. They oh what was it? Something of motion. Movement of motion. There was a word that they kept throwing around where it was basically like as many as a unit can move, make steps of. And I'm like, but how many steps can they make?
Yes, it can do as many as it's allowed to. How many is
But
allowed
how many
to?
is that?
Yeah. But tell me more.
And I understand there's some units that have +1 movement, so then it would be 2.
But +1 to
but
what?
Without knowing how much the base movement is.
Yeah. What if it's 5 and then you add +1 to it?
We assumed it was 1, but there was nothing to reinforce that assumption, so we didn't want to like continue on playing the game completely wrong and not having like a good representation of what the game actually
yeah, right.
is.
Like if
It completely breaks the game if the movement's more than one or less than one. Maybe a unit has no movement unless you give it a card that gives
okay,
plus
now
one.
I can just cross this entire battlefield and rush. And it's like every once in a while there would be a keyword where there's no actual explanation.
Every keyword should be underlined on these cards that have the flavor text. If you want to add flavor text in the rules or in the actual like description of the card, at least underline the keyword for me to go Control F your fucking document to try to learn how to. I don't know. The falling asleep thing, that was like the one that kind of broke the camel's back for me.
I gotta say, I was like angry to the point where I was like, I was talking with Bob's wife. I was like, I'm sorry for how loud I got in there. I was just
his palms were sweating.
Yeah. I'm getting like bristly just thinking about it now.
I will say all that to say, I think Sorcery is better than I thought it was.
I don't know if it's...
And I think that if I were, if I were to go back in time and be taught by a person that knows exactly how to play with no questions, I'd be like, this game is pretty good. I like the concept of the lands being able to, the sites being able to like place them strategically. That matters. So it's almost like a game of chess. You've got the summoning of units depending on where you put your stuff at. There's like sites that can be summoned in corners, which allow you to like kind of flank with different units. That's very cool. So the site management seems really cool. Underground, above ground, that seems fine. There's a difference between submerged and burrow, which I'm not entirely sure, but they're both under the ground probably. Then there's the void, which is cool because they can go through the void. Then there's airborne, which can like go diagonally. So like there's a lot of like all that to say. There's a lot of like intricacies for it, but it almost feels overly complicated for what it is.
For complication for complexity.
Projectile had to like go like this character shoots a projectile by the end of the turn. It's like, but okay, so like, does the projectile hit a unit that's in the same square as the unit it started in? We found out. I think that's yes. It sounds right.
At no point does it tell you how many units can be in one site.
Your avatar has an attack. We figured that out after we completed the game.
Yeah.
We figured out that your avatar has a sword and it actually can probably move.
It was my takeaway from it.
Which I don't think anybody ever said.
I don't know if it's
but your character's on the board,
game.
So it makes sense.
Like after our frustration turned into agitation and we ended up waking Bob from his power nap, we got to the point of like, I don't know if this is actually a game. Like this felt like it was early access and we're far too early.
To me, it felt like I was like talking in the Discord trying to figure out if I was just the only one that felt this way. And I'm like, I don't think I am, because obviously Pat feels that similar way. Where like the onboarding of a game is the worst of any game I've ever played. Hands down.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because, again, I'm cheating on the game, but I actually do think it has a lot of potential. I think it's actually pretty cool. It's way cooler than I thought. I will guarantee looking into it again with another buddy of mine, and we will try to play another game and learn the game, and then I'll have a better opinion on that. But again, I do think that it is superfluous for no reason.
Yeah. But in general, I've got to say it was an absolutely phenomenal trip, and I look forward to the next BobCon again very soon.
Yeah, we're wrapping up here, just in case you're not. We're trying to keep this around an hour. We've got stuff planned in about 45 minutes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed this little pre-recorded show. Not many times it's happened. It's always nice to like chat with you on the side there, but we'll come back and read the comments, and then I think that's how that works on live videos. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, we'll premiere it depending on how things are.
I'm hoping I can upload it before we leave.
I might be in chat with you guys there. So until next time, I've been Pat. He's been Matt.
I'm Matt, and this is Bob.
This is Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
And then we dance. And then we dance.